I'm heading to the yard right now. We just launched our curbside recycling program at the garbage company, and it's going pretty good. So we're gonna go to the yard, get loaded up, make a few stops, see how this day goes. All right, let me show you what we got. So I got all my stuff all loaded. I got yellow cans for recycling, black cans for trash. I like to stack them every other one or every couple other ones because a lot of people get trash and recycling, but some people are just getting trash or just getting recycling. Okay, so I got my recycling can off. This customer only wanted recycling. What I do is I have these forms that we made, and they say, welcome to Superior. This is your pickup day. This is what we do and do not accept. So the first time the customer opens them, they see that, and then they know. Okay, let's talk about recycling real quick. Why did I do it? The numbers. I mean, the thoughts on the top of my head. I originally started this company thinking I was getting into the service business, and so for the first 2.5 years we concentrated a lot just on developing our routes by providing great service at a reasonable price. Over time, some of the things I saw is we live in Texas. There's a lot of people moving into the area from other states. And what I would see a lot, I would go deliver a can and somebody would say, hey, have you guys ever thought about offering recycling? Well, in rural Texas, where I'm from, offering recycling to rural customers is very out of the ordinary because it's just not profitable. In my area, you run a truck and maybe your route density is 10%. Your recycling route density is 10% of your whole route. So, maybe you have 200 customers on that particular route and you're picking up 20 customers. Well, it's hard to make that work, because you're picking that up, you're charging, $30 a month for trash service, thereabouts. And when you have 200 people on the route, it makes sense. And you're taking it and you're dumping it for $55 tip fee at the landfill per ton. So one route you might, like we do dumpsters and trash cans on the same routes, rear load. So one route we might dump, 9 tons, 7 to 9 tons in one day. But if you only had 20 people on that route, it's hard to make that work because the tip fees are about the same. I mean, it's $55 a ton, up to $95 a ton, just depending on where you go. And there's really not a lot of options. It's just like everything else when you involve national companies and big players. They own the asset, and they're not doing it because they want to further recycling. Now, they want to say that, they want to advertise that and say, as a company, we have 3 recycling facilities. But if you're a little guy and you want to bring recycling into that facility, even though they're going to make money on the products, they want to rake you over the coals on it. It's that simple. So if you don't have the route density and you're only doing 20, 30 stops at the most on these rural routes in a day, it's very difficult to make that make sense. So most people just don't mess with it. Okay, so how am I making it work? Let's start with the fundamentals of recycling. When you recycle, you're really looking to end up with plastics. And when I say plastics, I mean plastic bottles is most of it, most of what you want. There's lots of odds and ends plastics, and there's markets for those, but it's a lot harder when you're trying to sort out all this stuff. The 3 through 7 plastics, there's just not a great market for that. So the plastic bottles is really the bulk of what's going to end up actually being recycled in milk jugs and stuff like that. But mainly plastic bottles. The tin cans, you can make some money there. And then the cardboard. The cardboard is like the big deal. We can sell cardboard for a pretty good price these days, and we have to sort it, and we have to do some things. We can't just like, if you just have raw cardboard, though, you can sell that. That's the products. We don't accept glass, mainly because there's no market for glass down here. But there's also contamination issues with glass. When you compact glass and you have a bunch of cardboard in there, a lot of times that glass can get into that cardboard and contaminate it, and the mill rejects it. So it just ends up in the landfill anyway. So we feel like we're going to get a higher percentage on our recycling overall if we do not accept glass than if we accept glass, just because of contamination. We can make it work because there's no tip fee. We are going to sort this stuff ourselves and sell it into the market, and the hope is that the price we get to sell the products covers the cost of sorting. Okay? So instead of having $55 a ton to take this to a recycling center, we're going to have the cost of one or two guys sorting. Like, we're going to dump the load out onto a cement slab and sort it all into the various products. If we bale our cardboard, we're going to have the cost of picking that cardboard all up, putting it in a baler, and going through that whole deal. So that's one way, okay? Another way is the truck we're using. We use an under CDL truck. Anybody can drive it, you know. My wife could go out there and do the recycling route if she wanted to. And so the cost of the driver is going to be a lot less, about 25% less than the cost of a CDL driver. Okay? This truck also gets a much higher rate on the fuel economy. It's going to get about 10 to 12 miles per gallon, where our traditional garbage trucks that we run, these are the full size 20 and 25 yard garbage trucks, you're looking like 4 to 6 miles to the gallon. So you get a much higher fuel economy. The labor cost is lower. We're sorting it ourselves. We had to get a permit to do that. And then the kicker is, in the beginning, until these routes develop, or hopefully they develop, right? I'm going to drive the truck myself. So there's really no labor cost in the beginning. The middle step too is we have a front load dumpster driver that we're trying to build some routes out, and that guy, his route ends early a lot of days, and we have him go run roll-offs. Well, soon we're going to put on another roll-off truck full-time, so instead of him coming in and running roll-offs, he can come in and run that recycling route. So there's lots of ways to kind of play it to make it work, but we had to really, really think outside the box compared to our competition to make all these numbers line up. Most guys like us that are like small garbage truck, regional garbage companies that think about doing this type of deal, it's a deal killer when they start finding out the tip rate at the recycling center to unload at $55 a ton. You're never going to get enough route density unless you have a city contract, an HOA that has 200 houses in it that will give you all the houses in the neighborhood or something like that. The rural routes, they just don't fill in enough. But I think by sorting it ourselves, running this under CDL truck and stuff, we're looking for, like, in the first year, I'd like to get it to a break even. I think over the course of time, recycling will be more and more accepted in all areas. So it's just like, if I can get it to break even year one, after that, it's just part of the program and it's not a cost anymore. The whole cost to get this program going, I paid about $125,000 for the under CDL truck, brand new. You can find them used for quite a bit cheaper than that. For me, a new unit was the way to go. And then I had some consulting fees, about $10,000 in consulting fees to file the permits that were necessary for me to be able to sort recyclables, because this is a TCEQ regulated thing. And then I had a cost in recycling lids. We typically have a green can with a black lid, and the plan to go in and keep prices low was, instead of buying a whole new can, you see some of these other companies, and they have a green can with a black lid for trash, and then for recycling they have like a blue can with a yellow lid. Well, I mean, then you have to buy a bunch of cans, and when you're buying them for rural Texas, like, you don't know how fast those cans are going to go. So at $30-something thousand a truckload for 600 cans, if you think you're going to have 10% adoption rate, like for me, that's 300 cans. So I might have a bunch of extra cans sitting around, or I could buy a short load, right? But what I did is I just bought a few hundred yellow lids, because yellow is kind of like the recycling color, in my mind anyway. And when we have a recycling customer, we just take one of our regular cans and replace the lid with a yellow lid. And that makes sense for us anyway, because we are regularly replacing lids on the trash cans. So it just builds an inventory for us of the black lids for our trash routes, and we don't have to keep a huge inventory of recycling cans. You have to have somewhere to put these. I mean, it's like a whole nother thing. So for us, I think this made a lot of sense. So we're going to see how that works. The only downside is, you got to switch a lid here and there, but it takes like maybe 2 minutes to switch a lid. If I have a drill, it's like really, really quick. It's not really a big deal. Okay, the second piece of this and where this is going is, so phase one is the curbside. We've reduced our cost as much as I think I can, while still doing some things like buying new equipment and stuff like that, right? I did not finance the equipment, so there's no monthly payment or anything like that. But phase two of this is, we have a very good roll-off business. We schedule about 10 roll-offs a day like clockwork. I mean, usually on Monday, we're scheduling out roll-offs for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and the week fills in pretty quick. We've been growing. When I started the company, I bought, I think, 30 roll-offs in one truck. I had to re-up. I mean, just over and over. We're approaching 200 roll-offs now, and we are putting on our third truck in the next month or two. So we have a very lucrative roll-off business. So phase 2 of the recycling program is we're going to start identifying roll-offs that we can bring in and pull out recyclables. Our permit allows that. We have some businesses that they throw some trash in their roll-off, but they also throw a ton of cardboard or a ton of just random metals, things like that. Well, if it's close enough to our facility or there's enough material that can be recycled in there, we're going to bring it back to the facility, separate it out, and sell what we can and keep it out of the landfill. So that reduces our cost because we don't have as much weight when we go to the landfill and pay a tip fee. I forgot to mention this previously, but that's also a consideration when you're going to run a curbside recycling route, because the trash that's going in the trash can that all of a sudden is a recyclable, it's the same amount of trash. So if you sign somebody up for a recycling can, that usually means that they're not going to put that material in a trash can. So your weight on that trash can could go down 20, 30, 40% on that customer, unless they're, hauling their stuff to a recycling center and all of a sudden it's a new batch of trash going into the recycling can. But that's normally not the case. Normally when you start offering this service, they just say, instead of putting this cardboard box in my trash can, I put it in my recycling can. So you save on your landfill weight tip fee. And you get to charge for that same trash twice. If it was, if the route density was there, that would be a gold mine, right? But the offset is the route density usually isn't there in rural routes. So back to the roll-offs. So that's phase 2 of this thing, is we're going to start sorting out what we can out of roll-offs. Not all roll-offs will meet the criteria. We know that. It's fine. But over time, we'll start identifying the ones that do, and then they'll just automatically be dispatched to the yard. Keep on going down this rabbit hole, and you say, okay, well now I'm at the point where I'm offering roll-offs and I'm partnering with people, and they're putting metal in this thing and I take it and I sell it. Well, at some point, like, this is a whole nother line of business. Now I get into the metal recycling business full blown, right? I put in a scale. I have people start coming in and selling metal to me. It goes into demolition, right? You say, like, now I'm in this business where I can go out and demolish a big building or something, and I have a home for the concrete that doesn't cost me anything, right? I have a home for the metal that we get out of here that actually make money. I have a home for, shingles. I have, all these things. You found homes for them, so you can go out and start bolting on other revenue streams that if you just try to get into it on your own, it would probably be like a pretty good business, right? But if this is just an add-on to a great business, I mean, it's just like the margins are huge, right? If you already are in the recycling business and you have a good amount of metal that you're selling every month, and then you get into the metal business and you start buying metal from the general public, and your numbers get up to the point where you can sell directly to the mill, and you're getting 3 times as much for metal as you would if you just sold it as your little recycling business, right? Like, all of a sudden you're vertically integrated and everything, the margins increase, right? So for me, I'm doing this for the right reasons of, I want to protect the environment for my kids. I'm doing it for, it makes business sense because it gives me a competitive advantage over other guys like me, because they can't make the numbers work to offer recycling. And I'm doing it because it opens up doors down the road where I can increase my margins, vertically integrate, and make a lot of money if I do it right. So I think this is like baby steps to the bigger picture. Anyway, I've got, I don't know, 18 more cans to deliver, so we'll check in later, try to find something to eat, and keep on going down the road. What do you say, big dog? Oh, what do you say, big boy? What do you know? Huh? Come here. Come here. Huh? Are you a good boy? Huh? Are you a good boy? Oh, you're a good boy. I can tell. So I didn't order fries, but they gave me fries anyway. I guess they figured I didn't know what the heck I was talking about. Man, that's a really good burger. It's like a flat top burger. It's got like that nice like almost like burnt, crunchy outside, and the guy just knows how to use the salt and pepper just right. It's seasoned just so good. So you get like a little bit of crunch from the patty, and it's seasoned so nice. And the guy's real, and he toasts the bun, and like he's real good about keeping fresh vegetables and such. So everything's just always like kind of top notch. Really good. All right, we are in Kyle, Texas. We started off this morning in Luling, Texas. I made my way through Kingsbury, dropping cans, and up through Seguin and San Marcos on into Kyle and Buda. I'm going to drop out several recycling cans here, and then I'm going to start heading back, and I'm going to go all the way to the other end of our service area and drop some trash and recycling cans in Welder and Rosanke, Texas. And then I'm going to take the trailer back to the yard, and we're going to be done. It's probably going to be, I don't know, 6, 7 o'clock by the time I'm done tonight. So we'll get out and get it done in the rain. Okay, so here they are. They're at their forever home. It's getting late in the day. I'm getting low on cans. Got a handful more stops, and then we're done. All right, that's it. Got all the cans out. Ended up putting out 15 recycling cans and I don't know how many trash, 5 or 6 or something like that. So I would say it was a pretty good first day for recycling. I think a lot more people are going to sign up as we go on, and I'm just really happy that that have days like this. These are the days that put food on the table, you know? These are the days that remind you that you can accomplish really awesome things if you just work really hard and try to make wise decisions. So I'm gonna put a little diesel in my truck, get home to my family, and wrap up the video right here. So we'll see you next time.